Welcome back to Theresa.is.Dead. My name is Theresa and I'm very much alive. And if you're new here, welcome. I have an awful garbage mouth, and if you're not into that or weird shit in general, this is not the place for you. Feel free to X out the video here. No harm, no foul. But I'll remember our time fondly. If you want to jump straight to the swatches and the overall review of the product, I'll leave a time code down below. Feel free to jump ahead. I had to leave work a little bit earlier today, and I get to ride the train during my favorite time of day, which is dead smack in the middle of the afternoon, where you're always pretty much guaranteed a seat and you're always gonna see somebody fucking crazy, and it's amazing. So I, of course, left work, get on my one train. It was fine, whatever, nothing to complain about. I get onto the next train, and boy howdy, it was interesting. So the train pulls into the station and it's actually pretty crowded, which is a little weird because it's middle in the afternoon. As I'm getting into the train, I noticed that there's like a small section that's open. Even though there's a lot of people, it didn't really dawn on me why there was a section on the train open. So of course I was sitting at the end of the car in the 3 to 2 seat configuration. I was in the 2 seats and there were 2 people sitting within the 3 seats next to me. Nobody was sitting on the side of me. So I look over to the girl that was sitting next to me and she looked like she was about to throw up. And anybody that was kind of standing in our general vicinity started to kind of slowly back away. And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck is going on here? Somebody must smell. And if you don't know this, I don't have a sense of smell. So in situations like this is fucking perfect. I can't smell anything. So I could sit here in the lap of luxury. It could smell like hot shit. Doesn't bother me. Bothers everybody else around me. I'm cool as a cucumber. So I happened to look across from me and there was only one man sitting in that whole section. So I noticed he was talking to nothing next to him.
If you're good, we get to go outside today.
So I looked around and noticed that nobody was staring at him. At this point, I guess he noticed that I was looking at him, so he quickly just turned and just did this in a very bridge troll-like manner. And of course, that made me just go, huh. And I just looked down at my phone the whole time. He had to stare at me, I would say probably for a good minute. I could feel all the hate in the world just hitting the top of my head. I then heard him say,
"Shut up, Ronaldo, I'm listening."
At this point, I don't pick up my head. I keep looking straight down like I'm doing right now. Why? Because I ain't trying to fuck with that, okay? Not today, sister. No. So near the guy, there happened to be a couple of bags as well as stacks of paper. So for the next 25 minutes, I watched him from my peripheral take all these tiny pieces of paper and stack them one by one by one. Now when he would get to the last piece of paper, he would scream,
"No, Ronaldo, we must go higher."
And then he would smack the fucking papers and they would go flying. He would spend the next couple of minutes trying to grab each piece of paper that flew around the fucking train car and then again stack them one by one by one. He probably had to do this maybe about 3 or 4 times. You'd think by the 3rd time it was pretty annoying, but it was actually kind of fascinating to see where the papers would fly every time you fucking whack them. What can I say? You have to make a game out of some things. 2 stops before I got off the train, a woman came on and decided to sit in his section. Now mind you, the whole time nobody sat in his section because everybody realized how fucking crazy he was. Everyone just piled onto the other end of the car. So I think the fact that she sat down really bothered him. So he looked at her like, oh, like how could you even sit in this section? But that lady did not give a shit. So instead he started grabbing all the stacks of papers and pulling them towards him and saying,
"Oh, Ronaldo, just move over."
He then grabbed that nothing and placed Ronaldo, I guess, on the tippy top of the stack of papers. The lady at this point looked at him, shook her head, and then pretended to go to sleep. I then actually said, "Aw," out loud. I don't know why I said aw or the fact that it made me smile, but then I realized how sad it was that I was awing over someone's possible schizophrenic episode. Gotta love New York. On today's video, we're going to be talking about the Just My Luck Colourpop palette, which is this little beauty right here. But before I give you my overall thoughts, let me read you a little bit about the palette first. Just My Luck Pressed Powder Shadow Palette retails for $12. We know you've been waiting for this baby. Meet the newest sis to our monochromatic palette fam. She's so lucky. We know she'll be the star of your makeup collection. With 9 richly pigmented shadows in every shade of green you can think of, it's easy to create the perfect monochromatic look. Got fun, creative, bold looks up your sleeve? We're totally here for it. So for $12, what exactly do you get? One, you get the same shitty kind of cheap packaging as the other $12 palettes, so there's no surprise there. When you open her up, you do get this nice little mirror here, and you get 9 shades. You get 5 mattes and 4 shimmers. So let's break it down by formula here. So for the 5 matte shades in this guy, they all work perfectly well. They do have a little bit of kick up, not that much fallout, which is really nice. They're incredibly soft feeling, which is amazing. I didn't have any issues with building up any color, blending out. There was nothing patchy about them. I thought they're just beautiful greens. I also like the fact that you can layer them. So for this look that I'm wearing right now, it actually initially didn't start like this. I actually wanted to play with more of the shimmer shades on my lids, but unfortunately, I think kind of combining a couple of the colors, it started to look kind of the same, which I think if you're going for a monochromatic look, that's fine. But for me, I like to kind of have like different variants of greens. So that's like my only complaint. I wish that there were other colors of green, because yes, this is a wide variety, but technically they're still leaving out a lot of green on the table. Definitely a lime green or a Kelly green or anything to that matter. In this palette, there is a good variety of like say jade and chartreuse and forest green, and there's like a mint and a spearmint, but I feel like there could have been a little bit more. But at that point, I'm kind of splitting hairs with it, because regardless, I'm just happy to own this because I think it's really good quality. They're good Colourpop mattes. I have no issue with them, and I love that. As for the shimmer shades, again, that was another one that I really didn't have an issue with. The only thing is that there is some fallout. So again, my preference, like I say in every fucking video, try to do your eye makeup first and then your base later, because it kind of can be a little messy and a little hard to clean, especially this shade Big Banks over here, or Mobamba, not Obama, god damn it, Mobamba. Sorry, Barack, I miss you. As for the shimmer shades, they're very pretty. They're easy to use. I prefer to use them wet only because it gives a little bit more of a punch of color, which is really nice, but they're also incredibly soft and just beautifully pigmented. I love the shade Olive You. It's such a pretty olive shade. And now you're probably thinking like, oh, well, doesn't that look very similar to the Good Sport palette? And at first I kind of was like, oh, this kind of looks similar. But the good thing about this palette is that none of the greens actually look anything alike. So the three greens down here are very unique to this palette and don't have any kind of crossover with this palette. If you do own this and you were kind of on the fence of getting this, it's not going to matter. Combining both palettes now, you actually have so many more options, and I love that. And this is actually probably, I want to say, my favorite Colourpop palette. Now I think this might actually be my favorite Colourpop palette. Okay, these two together, they make babies. I love them. They're adorable. I do have a couple of other green palettes that I do want to show you and kind of compare it to. The other palette that I thought of was the Tribe by Juvia's Place, and it's only because of this shade down here, which is San. We'll compare that to Mombamba. I want to say fucking Obama so goddamn badly. So this is the Colourpop shadow. This is the Juvia's Place. As you can see, they look very similar. Dare I say it, the Colourpop looks a touch more pigmented. Ooh, drama. The other palette I thought of was the Gemini one, which, by the way, can I tell you, side note guys, the Gemini is falling apart on me. So this shadow right here became incredibly puffy. This one started to crater out. And it makes me mad because I really, really like this palette. And then all this weird shit started happening with it. Not a fan. So I have to be very, very gentle with this guy. So the reason why I'm showing you this palette as well is that there are no shades that can be duped from this palette or this palette. The Melt Cosmetics is truly a unique palette, sad to say. And then the next one I want to show is the Smoke Sessions palette, which are these little guys right here. And let's see, are there any shades that could potentially be duped? Going to swatch the shade Sour Diesel versus Charmed. So this shade is Melt Cosmetics and this shade is Colourpop. They don't look anything alike. Another shade that looks quite similar is the Melt Cosmetics Mean Green versus Colourpop So So. The other shade that looks very similar to the Smoke Sessions palette is this guy here. This one's Black Widow and this is Olive You. Well, this may not look like 100% dupe. I would say that they look rather similar. I think out of all the green palettes that I own currently, Smoke Sessions probably is the one that comes the closest to this guy, I would say. And it's only like a couple of shades. It's not the whole palette. And I have to say, while I do really like the formula of this, this is problematic only because it puffs up. It's very fragile. While I think it's really good quality, the fact that it's so finicky and so soft pressed and like I feel like I'm about to break it every time I use it, I feel like I'm gonna find myself gravitating more towards this one because this is definitely more easy to use compared to this. Plus, price-wise, this is a fucking steal compared to this guy because while I do like it, I don't think it's necessarily worth the price point. This, however, it's fucking great. So with that said, I'm super excited and very happy to own this. I think this is completely worth the money. This is something that I'm going to use a lot. Granted, this might not be the best palette to use as an everyday look because look at me, bitch. I look like a fucking swamp thing, but this is going to be a really nice companion piece. And I think since 2019 is pretty much dubbed the quest for green year, I'm going to be reaching for this time and time again. So listen guys, if you have 12 bucks, and you like Colourpop formula and you know what to expect from them, then I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I think you're going to be very, very happy. Worst case scenario, you only break this out for St. Patrick's Day, so when you're bent over a toilet throwing up, at least your eyeshadow will look good, all right? Because the lasting power on this guy is fucking fantastic. I've been wearing this shit for more than 12 hours at this point, and it still looks pretty fucking good. I love it. Colourpop, You alright in my book. You fucking awesome, bitch. So with that said, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about this palette? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you excited about it? Do you not give a fuck about green? Are you like, hey bitch, where's yellow? So let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. On that note, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it as always. Feel free to like, comment, hit that subscribe button. It's free. And hit that bell icon for notification of all my future posts. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, bloopity blop, whatever. I don't care. Just follow me. And I'll see you little pumpkins later. Bye.